Have you turned on the television recently? Have you opened a magazine or talked to your friends at the golf course or the grocery store? If you have undoubtedly heard about the absolute biggest medical phenomenon of the 21st century. It is a drug that is sweeping the nation, transforming Hollywood celebrities overnight and emptying the shelves of every pharmacy in America. You know the names: Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro, semaglutide. The promise is incredibly seductive. You inject yourself once a week with a tiny needle, and suddenly, magically, the weight just falls off. You don't have to sweat in the gym. You don't have to count calories. Your appetite simply vanishes. Your blood sugar drops, and the stubborn belly fat that you have been fighting for the last 20 years finally begins to disappear. Your doctor is thrilled. Your friends are envious. The pharmaceutical companies are making billions upon billions of dollars. It sounds like the ultimate medical miracle. But what if I told you that for a senior citizen over the age of 60, this miracle injection is actually a biological Trojan horse? What if I told you that the weight you are celebrating losing is not just fat, but the very life-saving tissue that keeps you out of a wheelchair? What if I told you that by chemically silencing your appetite, you are actively paralyzing your internal organs, starving your brain of vital nutrients, and accelerating the aging process of your body at a terrifying speed? Prepare yourself. Today, we are going to look behind the curtain of the billion-dollar weight loss industry. We are going to expose the dark, terrifying, and unspoken medical reality of GLP-1 receptor agonists. Welcome to Senior Health. I am Dr. Kim. Today we are taking a massive, comprehensive deep dive into the Ozempic epidemic. I am going to explain to you, using cutting-edge endocrinology and gastroenterology, exactly what these synthetic hormones do to an aging body. And I will show you, through the profound, time-tested wisdom of Eastern medicine, why artificially starving a senior is considered one of the most dangerous, life-threatening mistakes a doctor can make. If you are currently taking one of these injections, if your doctor is pressuring you to start, or if you simply want to understand why your friend who lost 50 pounds suddenly looks frail, exhausted, and 10 years older, you must listen to every single word of this masterclass. But before we expose the first catastrophic danger of these drugs, if you are serious about taking complete control of your longevity, click that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. Here at Senior Health, we combine the brilliant discoveries of modern science with the ancestral wisdom of Korean traditional healing. We give you the unvarnished truth that the mainstream commercial medical system refuses to tell you. And I want to know who is joining our community of truth seekers today. If you are ready to learn the real secret to metabolic health, type the number 1 in the comments right now. If not, type 0. Your engagement is what allows us to reach and save more seniors just like you. Let us begin by understanding exactly what these drugs are and how they trick your body. Ozempic and Wegovy are brand names for a chemical called semaglutide. They belong to a class of drugs called GLP-1 receptor agonists. In a normal, healthy human body, when you eat a meal, your intestines release a natural hormone called GLP-1. This hormone does two main things. It tells your pancreas to release insulin to handle the sugar, and it travels up to your brain to tell your hypothalamus that you are full, so you stop eating. Natural GLP-1 lasts in your bloodstream for only a few minutes before it is broken down. The pharmaceutical companies took this natural hormone and chemically altered it so that it cannot be broken down quickly. When you inject Ozempic, this synthetic hormone stays in your bloodstream for an entire week. For 7 straight days, Your brain is being bombarded with a massive, unrelenting chemical signal screaming, "You are completely full. Do not eat." At the same time, the drug binds to the receptors in your stomach and physically slows down the emptying of your gastric contents. You lose weight because you are chemically forced into a state of semi-starvation. You are eating a fraction of the calories you used to eat simply because the thought of food makes you nauseous. For a morbidly obese 30-year-old, this rapid weight loss might seem beneficial in the short term. But for a 70-year-old body, this state of forced chemical starvation initiates a biological catastrophe. Let's discuss the first and most devastating consequence for a senior. It is a medical emergency that is being completely swept under the rug by the media. Let's talk about catastrophic sarcopenia, also known as massive muscle wasting. When you step on the scale and see that you have lost 20 pounds on Ozempic, you feel a surge of joy. But the scale is lying to you. The scale does not tell you what kind of weight you lost. Clinical trials and body composition scans of patients on semaglutide have revealed a horrifying reality. When you lose weight on these drugs, up to 40% of the weight you lose is not fat. It is lean muscle mass and bone density. Let me repeat that, because it is the most important thing you will hear today. Almost half of the weight you are losing is your precious, irreplaceable muscle. Do you remember our previous masterclass on sarcopenia? Muscle is not just for looking good. Muscle is the metabolic engine of your body. Muscle is what absorbs glucose from your blood. Muscle is the armor that protects your fragile bones. Muscle is the only thing that fires fast enough to catch you when you trip on a carpet. As a senior, your body is already fighting a desperate uphill battle to maintain muscle mass due to natural hormonal decline. When you inject a drug that kills your appetite, you drastically reduce your intake of high-quality protein and vital calories. Your aging body looks around for energy to survive, and because you are starving, it begins to cannibalize its own muscle tissue. You might weigh less, but you have fundamentally changed the composition of your body for the worse. You have become a smaller, but much fatter, much weaker version of yourself. You are losing the exact fast-twitch muscle fibers in your legs that keep you out of a nursing home. I see patients who have lost 40 pounds on Ozempic. They walk into my clinic and they do not look healthy. They look frail. They shuffle their feet. Their shoulders are hunched. They complain of deep, relentless fatigue. They cannot open jars, and they are terrified of walking down a flight of stairs. They cured their obesity by trading it for severe frailty. For a senior, frailty is far more dangerous than carrying an extra 10 pounds of body fat. Frailty is a death sentence. In the ancient philosophy of Korean traditional medicine, muscle and flesh are governed by the spleen and the stomach. The spleen requires warm, nourishing, easily digestible food to produce qi, the vital energy of life and blood. When you chemically destroy the appetite, you starve the spleen. You deplete the body's postnatal qi. The body becomes cold, hollow, and profoundly weak. You are trading your vital essence for a lower number on a piece of plastic on your bathroom floor. Let's move to the second invisible horror of these injections. It involves the very core of your digestive system. It is a condition that is sending thousands of patients to the emergency room with agonizing pain. Let's expose the nightmare of gastroparesis, or stomach paralysis. Remember how I said that GLP-1 drugs physically slow down the emptying of your stomach? This is called delayed gastric emptying. It is part of how the drug makes you feel full. The food just sits there. But in many patients, especially older adults whose digestive systems are already naturally slowing down, this effect becomes extreme. The drug essentially paralyzes the vagus nerve, which controls the muscular contractions of the stomach. When your stomach is paralyzed, The food you eat does not move into the small intestine. It just sits in your stomach for hours and sometimes days, in a warm, dark, moist environment with a temperature of 98 degrees. What happens to food that just sits there? It ferments. It rots. Seniors on Ozempic are experiencing horrific symptoms of severe gastroparesis. They suffer from constant debilitating nausea. They experience sulfur burps, which is the literal smell of rotting food escaping from their stomachs. They vomit undigested food that they ate 2 days ago. They suffer from agonizing bloating and severe constipation because the entire gastrointestinal tract has been chemically frozen. But the discomfort is only the beginning. The true danger of gastroparesis is severe malnutrition. The small intestine is where your body absorbs 90% of the vitamins, minerals, and amino acids you need to survive. If the food is trapped in your stomach and rotting, it never reaches the small intestine in a digestible state. You are taking a drug that stops you from eating, and the little food you do manage to eat is not being absorbed. Your brain is starving for vitamin B12. Your bones are starving for calcium and vitamin D. Your heart is starving for magnesium. You are inducing a state of advanced clinical malnutrition in a senior body that absolutely requires hypernourishment to fight off disease. In Eastern medicine, the digestive fire is the most sacred function of the human body. We call it the middle jiao. If the middle jiao is frozen, life cannot be sustained. We use warming herbs, ginger, and acupuncture to keep the stomach moving and digesting vigorously. Injecting a synthetic chemical that paralyzes the stomach is viewed in holistic medicine as an act of absolute biological sabotage. It extinguishes the fire of life. This brings us to the third tragic consequence. It is something you can see with your own eyes, and it has become so common that the medical community has given it a specific name. Let's talk about the phenomenon known as Ozempic face and the crash of bone density. When a person, particularly someone over the age of 60, loses weight rapidly through severe caloric restriction, the body does not have time to adapt. The skin loses its elasticity. The fat pads under the skin, which give the face its youthful, plump appearance, rapidly dissolve. Because the patient is malnourished and protein deficient due to the drug, the body stops producing collagen and elastin. The result is a face that appears hollow, gaunt, sagging, and deeply wrinkled. Patients look like they have aged 10 or 15 years in a matter of 6 months. Their eyes sink into their skulls, their cheeks hollow out, and their skin hangs loosely from their jawlines. They look sick. They look like they are wasting away from a terminal illness. But Ozempic face is just the cosmetic manifestation of a much deeper, more terrifying structural collapse. What is happening to the face is exactly what is happening to your skeleton. Bone is living, dynamic tissue. It requires a constant daily supply of high-quality protein, calcium, magnesium, and mechanical stress from heavy muscles to rebuild itself. When you take semaglutide, you destroy the appetite for protein. You lose the heavy muscle mass that pulls on the bone to keep it strong. And because your stomach is paralyzed, you cannot absorb minerals. The result is a catastrophic drop in bone mineral density. Your bones become porous, brittle, and fragile like dry chalk. You are curing your diabetes by guaranteeing that you will suffer a shattered hip the next time you lose your balance. And remember, because you lost your fast-twitch muscle fibers, you are absolutely going to lose your balance. In traditional Korean healing, the bones are governed by the kidneys, which hold the jing, or the deepest ancestral essence of the body. When jing is depleted through starvation, exhaustion, or rapid artificial weight loss, the hair falls out, the teeth become loose, the face withers, and the bones decay. You are artificially depleting your life force. Let's move to the fourth invisible danger. It involves one of the most delicate and vital organs in your entire body. It is the organ you are supposedly trying to help. Let's expose the reality of pancreatic burnout and gallbladder disease. The primary medical purpose of Ozempic is to lower blood sugar by forcing the pancreas to secrete more insulin. It whips the beta cells of the pancreas, demanding that they work harder and harder, continuously 24 hours a day, for as long as the drug is in your system. For a senior whose pancreas is already tired and struggling, this constant, unrelenting chemical whipping causes severe cellular stress. The medical literature is full of warnings about GLP-1 agonists causing acute pancreatitis. This is a condition where the pancreas becomes violently inflamed and essentially begins to digest itself. It is a medical emergency that causes excruciating abdominal pain that radiates to the back, and it can be completely fatal. Furthermore, rapid weight loss and severe caloric restriction profoundly alter the chemistry of your bile. Your liver continues to produce bile, but because you are not eating enough fat to trigger the gallbladder to empty, the bile just sits in the gallbladder and stagnates. What happens to stagnant, concentrated bile? It crystallizes. It turns into massive, painful gallstones. Thousands of patients who took semaglutide to lose weight have ended up on the surgical table, having their entire gallbladder surgically removed because it became packed with stones and severely infected. You are taking a drug to improve your metabolic health, but you are actively whipping your pancreas toward inflammation and turning your gallbladder into a bag of stones. In Eastern medicine, the liver and gallbladder network is responsible for the smooth, unimpeded flow of energy and emotions throughout the body. When the gallbladder is blocked by rapid starvation and toxic chemicals, it causes severe frustration, anger, bitterness in the mouth, and deep digestive paralysis. You cannot achieve health by surgically removing or chemically inflaming your vital organs. Finally, we arrive at the fifth and perhaps the most devastating psychological and biological trap of the entire Ozempic craze. It is the dirty secret that the pharmaceutical companies bury deep in the fine print. Let's discuss the terrifying reality of the rebound effect. Let's say you take the drug for a year. You suffer through the nausea. You lose the muscle. You lose the bone density. You look older, but you lost 50 pounds. You decide you cannot handle the side effects anymore, or you can no longer afford the $1,000 a month price tag. So, you stop taking the injection. What happens next is a biological nightmare. The moment the synthetic hormone leaves your bloodstream, your natural appetite returns. But it does not return to normal. It returns with a savage, uncontrollable vengeance. Your brain realizes it has been starving for a year, and it sends out massive panic signals demanding high-calorie food. But remember what you lost? You lost your muscle mass. Muscle is what burns calories. Because you have no muscle left, your basal metabolic rate, the number of calories you burn just staying alive, has crashed. Your metabolism is moving at a snail's pace. So, you have a raging, uncontrollable appetite combined with a shattered, deeply depressed metabolism. The result is terrifyingly predictable. Clinical studies show that the vast majority of patients who stop taking GLP-1 drugs regain all the weight they lost, and often much more, within the first year. But here is the ultimate tragedy. When you regain the weight, you do not regain the muscle you lost. You regain the weight as pure, highly inflammatory visceral fat. This fat surrounds your organs and chokes your liver. You started as a heavy person with some muscle. You took the drug, starved yourself, and became a frail, weak person. You stopped the drug and you rebounded into a heavy, frail person with zero muscle and massive amounts of visceral fat. This is the definition of sarcopenic obesity. It is the absolute worst, most dangerous metabolic state a senior can possibly be in. Your risk of diabetes, heart disease, and immobility is infinitely higher than before you ever took the first injection. You have become a permanent, lifelong customer of the pharmaceutical industry because you are now trapped in a body that cannot metabolize food naturally. You now have the complete, unvarnished truth. The miraculous weight loss injections that everyone is cheering for are acting as a silent wrecking ball inside the aging body. Catastrophic muscle wasting that leads to fatal falls. Stomach paralysis that ferments food and causes clinical malnutrition. Accelerated aging of the face and the dissolution of bone density. The violent whipping of the pancreas and the destruction of the gallbladder, and the inescapable trap of the rebound effect that leaves you fatter and weaker than ever before. Hearing this massive list of hidden dangers, you might feel a profound sense of shock. You might feel a heavy weight in your chest, especially if you or someone you love is currently taking these medications. You trusted the doctors. You trusted the medical system. You just wanted to get your blood sugar under control and feel lighter on your feet. It is completely normal to feel overwhelmed and even angry at the deception of the weight loss industry. But I want you to take a deep, powerful breath. I want you to replace that fear with the incredible power of knowledge. You are no longer a blind consumer of chemical shortcuts. You now understand the profound, delicate, and brilliant biology of your own aging body. The human body is an absolute miracle of survival. It does not need synthetic hormones injected into its fat tissue to heal. It needs nourishment. It needs alignment. It needs you to respect its biological laws. The true lasting solution to insulin resistance, diabetes, and stubborn visceral fat in a senior is not starvation. The solution is building the metabolic engine. The solution is muscle. If you want to lower your blood sugar naturally and permanently, you must stop focusing on the scale and start focusing on your strength. Muscle tissue is the only organ in the body that can absorb glucose from your blood without needing insulin. The more muscle you build using the safe, zero-impact Eastern isometric protocols we discussed in previous videos, the more carbohydrates you can eat without spiking your blood sugar. You must nourish your body, not starve it. You must eat high-quality, easily digestible proteins like slow-cooked bone broth, soft-boiled eggs, and wild-caught fish. You must eat healthy, ancestral fats like olive oil and real butter to stabilize your hormones and keep you full naturally. And if you need a natural, incredibly safe plant, compound that actually helps sensitize your cells to insulin without paralyzing your stomach, look to the ancient Eastern herb known as berberine. Berberine has been used in holistic medicine for thousands of years. Modern clinical trials have shown that high-quality berberine is just as effective as the leading pharmaceutical diabetes drug, metformin, at lowering blood sugar, but it does so by activating an enzyme called AMPK, which tells your body to burn fat for energy while completely protecting your muscle mass and healing your gut microbiome. When you stop starving yourself with chemical injections and start building your body with real food and safe tension, the transformation is miraculous. Within just a few weeks of eating adequate protein and doing isometric holds, the relentless fatigue will vanish. Your face will regain its color and plumpness. Your digestion will turn back on, and you will actually absorb the vitamins you need. And the stubborn belly fat will slowly, safely melt away because your metabolism is burning hot, like a well-stoked furnace. This is not a chemical trick. This is simply what happens when you honor the biological laws of your body and return to the safe, natural nourishment that gave human beings health and vitality for thousands of years. I want to hear from you now. I want you to think about what you have learned today. Has your doctor pressured you to take a weight loss injection? Have you seen the devastating muscle loss in someone you know? Let me know in the comments section below. Do not be ashamed. The pharmaceutical marketing is incredibly powerful. Claim your victory by writing down that you refuse to starve your body and that you choose to build your strength instead. Your courage to share might be the exact wake-up call another senior needs to save their own muscle mass. If this deep dive masterclass opened your eyes, if it finally explained why the chemical weight loss shortcut is actually a trap, please hit the like button right now. Share this video with your spouse, your children, your friends at the golf course, and absolutely anyone you know who is considering taking Ozempic or Wegovy. You have the power to share the truth that can literally save them from a wheelchair. And most importantly, click subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Here at Senior Health, we are building a massive, unstoppable community of seniors who refuse to be used as chemical experiments by the pharmaceutical industry. We are taking back our health, our independence, and our golden years by building our bodies, not starving them. Before you close this video, please type the number 1 in the comments if you commit to protecting your muscle mass today. If not, type 0. Make the commitment to your biology. Respect your digestion. Protect your muscles. And never forget that true health cannot be injected from a synthetic pen. It must be built, nourished, and earned the way nature intended. I am Dr. Kim, and I will see you in the next video. Stay safe, stay wise, and stay strong.